Hey guys, how you guys doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch this video that I recorded for you. Now, I know it's been a while since I put out a video, but what happened is my desktop crashed. That's right. Arch did it to me again. This happened about a year ago. It seems like it happens once a year. And what happened is I did an update and it somehow corrupted my file system. It completely wiped out my file system to the point that I couldn't even root into it. It just wouldn't. Half the files were gone. Some of the it's weird. Some of the files were there. Other files were gone. I did not have a time shift of it. I did not have any time shift on it because I made a mistake. And once again, I trusted not doing a snapper or time shift rollback function on Arch, and that is always a big mistake. So as it is, it went kaput, so I had to restart over again. So I jumped to a new distro, and we will take a look at that distro when we come back. But before I leave, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up, the subscribe button, and the notification button. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do. And if you have subscribed and you've been enjoying the content, maybe consider joining. Also, I'd like to thank our newest member, Nick M, for recently joining the channel and supporting the channel. It means so much. Anyhow, let's go ahead and take a look at what we got going on today. So what we got going on today is a new distribution, one that it's not new. It's been around for a while, but it's new to me. I recently did a review of it. Well, not a review of it, but an installation process of it, and that is NixOS. And I have started my Nix journey. I saw it. I wanted to try it. I know the craze. Tyler over at Zaney on YouTube, he talked me into using his dot files for trying this, and they're very well done. What he has done is he's taken the actual NIX configuration and added Home Manager to it, and also a flake to it, so that way you're kind of like frozen. And it is working very beautifully. I do have some issues with it, but maybe it's for me learning from it, or learning it, not knowing it very well, or maybe it's just something that is just that they don't want to do in the NIX package, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But I just want to show you a little bit here in just a sec. Oops, wrong thing. So let's go ahead and switch over to my other monitor here. And as you can see, I have here the actual NIX package, or the NIX web page up over at nix.org. And what I'd like to tell you is it's a declarative build, and it's great for deployments. Basically, it's reproducible, and it's declarative, meaning that you have to state what you want it to do in the configuration file. Basically, in just like a layman's more comparative way of saying it, it's like having your configuration file on crack, so to speak, for a window manager. Only difference is it's not just a window manager aesthetics, it's for everything in the actual operating system that you want it to do. So if you go here and you go down to the bottom, because this is a problem that a lot of people have, and even I had that issue, was knowing which packages are in there. But I'm going to show you something. So let's go ahead and just do a typical for like OBS, right? And you hit search. At the very bottom, you can search for packages. So this could be a deal breaker for people if they don't have a package on here that they are wanting to use, that they use in their daily workflow. Now, OBS has everything on here. It's in here, OBS Studio. There are ways of enabling it. And what you do is you find a package that you want, right? And I'll show you in the configuration packages of where to do this at. But anyhow, so you find a package that you want, and then like you say you want to do this OBS Haskell package, a simple server, right? You click on there, and then this is what you do. Now this is wanting you, there's 3 ways that you can actually run a package in NIX. The first way is through your environment variable, which is what you're logged into. Now, an environment variable is not the ideal way to do it. You can do it and it works well. Even they tell you that, warning, using the NIX environment variable permanently modifies the local .profile of the installed packages. This must be updated and maintained by you, the user. So it's basically taking away from the NIX way of maintaining your packages. Okay, when you do it this way, it's basically, let's just say, like, it's landlocked, it's isolated, it won't update unless you update it in there by reinstalling, by giving it this name again for whatever the newest package is that's on their repos. That's how you get to the newest, latest, and greatest. Okay, so that's the one way to do it. And yes, you can save it, and yes, it will work. And it oftentimes, sometimes with reboot, it goes away. Other times, it doesn't go away. Or if you rebuild it, it'll go away. So then you have the actual, this is the appropriate way in the NIX configuration file. Now, if you're using a Flake and you want to put it in your Flake packages file, which if you're using Zaneys dot files, that's a file that's in there. And then of course you can actually, what's really cool about NIX is you can give the NIX shell command and you can actually make it run a certain package in a shell, kind of like it's kind of like a Docker, like you know, like a little Docker image, so to speak. You know, it just runs privately on its own. As soon as you log out and reboot back in, that shell's gone. So that's the coolest part about that. If you run it in that way, so you can make your choice as to which ways you want to do it. So now that's how you can install packages, and that's how you can look up packages on NIX to find out if it is that you need to do them. Mind you, if you're a NIX user, you're going to find this video a little bit boring because I'm not going over anything you didn't really know, but I'm trying to cover it for people who are like me, who may have come to NIX and installed it and they're like, now what do I do? So now let's go ahead and take a look at Zaneys dot files over here, and I'll bring in a culmination on how everything works. So these are his dot files. You can find them at gitlab.com, Zaney /ZaneyOS dot the main tree main, which is his, or you can just Google ZaneyOS and it'll give you this little, you see this whole freaking line right here, and it'll come right up. And then this is his README on how to do it. ZaneyOS is a way of reproducing his configuration on any NixOS system. This includes the wallpaper, scripts, applications, the config files, and more. And it is. He gives you your Flake, your home manager file, all that good stuff. So a lot of people will say that home manager is kind of a wussy way of doing it because it kind of sets up your home folders and stuff like that, what you would consider a home folder environment, the user path. It sets that up on there, and it makes it a little bit more easier for people who are wanting to use it for like their everyday, you know, non-development stuff in usage and are accustomed to go into a home directory to find stuff. So, but it's not exactly the same, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. And then of course he goes on to talk about what is NixOS. NixOS is a Linux distribution known for its unique approach to package management and system configuration. My friend, my wonderful, beautiful friend, Matt over at the Linux Cast, he trolls a lot, but he's not wrong in saying it. But he says it's not even a Linux distribution, which I think is funny, because it to most people they wouldn't consider it a Linux distribution because it's completely out of the box thinking from what you would consider a Linux distribution. To me, I don't want to say that it's just a different type of Linux distribution. Most people are used to the standard run-of-the-mill everyday distribution that you install, and you don't have to configure anything except maybe the aesthetics or, you know, how you want it to look and run. That's about it. Well, with NIX, you literally configure everything, every last detail to the drop. I mean, it's a different way of doing it. It's a different way of thinking it, but it still uses a file management system. It's albeit different than what you want. It still uses the Linux kernel, albeit, you know, it's every kernel that you want. And the difference is it's declarative, and it uses an actual coding language to actually run the operating system. It's very modernized. And so it's not anything that I would recommend for a new to Linux user in any way, shape, or form. I would barely recommend it to a very seasoned vet. I mean, I'm pretty seasoned and I'm even lost on some of this stuff. Thankfully, I was able to install it with the boys over on Zaneys. Well, installing was easy, but setting up the dot files is pretty easy. He'll explain to you what to do here in a minute. But I did it through there, and I luckily had them in his Discord server, which he's always on every night, helping people figure out NIX. So if you're having an issue, go over there and talk to him on his Discord server. Zaney, I'll have his Discord or his link down in the description. But either way, it's not the usual Linux distribution, so therefore I do suggest that you proceed with caution. Why choose NixOS? Declarative, it's functional, has multiple environments and rollbacks, which you do at reboot. You'll have the wall, because every time you rebuild it, every time you add something, a package, you have to rebuild the flake or do the rebuild dash switch, the NixOS rebuild switch command, and it rebuilds it and it creates that saved instant. And so doing that, you build up a backlog of them, so you can actually kind of roll back to it. That's what's kind of nice. You could roll back to the last non-broken one if you broke something or whatever, and you're fine. But now the way that the configuration files is, they're mostly written in a in a configuration file, which is in your Etsy folder, which is in the Etsy /NixOS /configuration .nix file, and that's where the basic one does. But whenever you install Zaneys .files, that's not the file you go to. You go to the Flake files to do those. Now, to reproduce the system, you follow these simple steps. You enable Flakes in a command line tool by adding this command line in it, right? And then you NIX generate the config, show hardware config .nix. So then you go to the hardware here, you do this one, and it'll generate your hardware file. And then you run this command, rebuild switch to the Flake. And then now you're going to be into Zaneys files. So let's go ahead and switch over here to this desktop, close this out, and then I'm going to open up Thunar. And this is going to be pretty much the home folder. As you can see, here's his face icons and all that kind of crap. But either way, so what you're going to go is into this Zaneys OS here, right? And then flake.nix. This is where the Flake pulls its stuff from. Now, in this flake.nix, these variables right here, these user variables that I'm highlighting right here, okay, right down to here where it says package import NIX packages, okay, these you need to change. You need to change the host name, the username, put your username, your email or whatever, and then you have to change your locales, okay? You can change your theme to whatever it is. Here he has Brave for the default browser, but I set it to Vivaldi because that's what I use. And then, of course, the wallpapers are carried in his wallpapers folder, which comes from his Git. And the directory is going to be in here in the user. So this is your username. So what this does is it generates a username to be this one up here. So it's going to be Alex. And so that's your user folder. And then for whatever you put in there, say Sam, Smith, Bob, Tila, Janie, whatever, it's going to be there. So, and that's how you read this code. And then, so now under here is the driver selection profile. For the default options are AMD, Intel, NVIDIA. It had AMD and AMD here because he runs AMD on everything, CPU and GPU. I do as well. But say you have an Intel CPU and an NVIDIA GPU. That's where you put in NVIDIA and Intel. And then what you do is once you make those changes, you obviously, because this is Vim, you do the Shift:/WQ exclamation point and then hit enter. Once you, to edit, you have to hit, like, say you click on the line now, like say you want to edit right here. You click I for insert. See at the bottom how it changed into insert mode. Then you can actually go back and type whatever it is that you want. And then when you're all done, you hit escape, Shift:/, right quit, exclamation point, enter. Now, you think you're done, but you're really not done. What you have to do now is you have to hit the mod key, which is a window key, enter, opens up the terminal. Then you gotta type in the Flake rebuild. That's the command right there, Flake rebuild. You type that in, you hit enter, you give it your sudo password that you set up when you installed NIX, and now it's building it, and it's all done. So now everything works. So if you install the package into it or whatever, you run this command as well, and now your package will work. And now to find your packages or where to install packages, you go to another directory. For the packages, you go to this config folder, home folder, and then you go to here, packages.nix. And then right here, where all this is right here, where this packages is right here, this is where you put in your packages that you want to. Like say you want to add, GIMP, you can put it there, or whatever. You just hit space, you hit insert, you get into insert mode in Vim, type in GIMP or whatever the name of the package is, and then there you go. Then you write and quit it, and then you're good to go. And then you do the Flake rebuild, and that will rebuild your packages again and install them. It only installs them on the rebuild. All right, so now you want to configure NIX, right? And set up maybe your favorite key bindings or whatever. So you're going to close out of that, and then you're going to go to here to this file in here. This folder has all your configuration files for your bash, so you can do your bash aliases and all that good stuff right into Rofi. He uses Rofi for his launcher. So you click on the hyprland.nix, and then of course here is your hyprland.nix. This is where your configuration file is for Hyprland and currently Zaneys Hyprland. Now here's where you can set your environment variables right here. Like he set all these environment variables for the Qt platform, all that good stuff, right? Also, your window rules are here. One key point I'd like to point out is your monitors right here. This section right here that I've highlighted. That section right there is how you set up your monitors in Hyprland if you have a multi-monitor setup. Like I have 4 monitors actually, but I'm not using a 4th one at the moment. I'm probably going to add that here a little bit later on tonight. But if you look at that, this is how you can set up your monitors. And to find out what your monitors are, all you got to do is open up a terminal. Oh, wait. So we're going to close this out. And we're going to open up a terminal by hitting the widmod terminal. And then you're going to type in hyperctl monitors all. And then this is going to list all your monitors. Now, this is what you're going to want to use when you go to input your monitors into this NIX configuration file. You're going to want to use this monitor name and then the resolutions right here that you can find and the position of where it's at. So this will list all your monitors, where they're at. Now, the positions, you'll have to do them based upon your monitor size and stuff like that. Like the first one starts out at 0.0. So if we go into this, let's go ahead and close out this, and we'll go into this Hyprland NIX. You see 0.0. Then the next one's going to be 1920, where that one ends, because it's a 1920 by 1080, right? And then the next one's going to be the 1920 doubled, which is going to be 3840, which is the next, to make it to the right of that. So you can do negative values. So if you want to put one to the left, like my 4th monitor is to the left of the main monitor, which is my HDMI monitor, it's to the left. I could do negative, I believe, 1920, and it will put it on the other side of that, or maybe, yeah, I think it is 1920. So either way, that's how you could configure them. Also, the key thing is resolution, setting up your resolution in here. The high res will do it. Otherwise, you have to, like I did here, because this is a 4K monitor, but it's way small for me to see with my old eyes. I set the resolution to 1920 by 1080, which you can do. If you want to know how to do that, you can go to the Hyprland wiki, and it'll, in the monitor section, it'll tell you how to do that. So there's that. That is exactly how that works. Now, that is a brief look at the Zaneys setup for the monitor, and I mean for his NixOS. Like I said, I'm still a little dubious. I mean, the quality of picture is insane. The quality of, of the display is insane. It's beautiful. It literally, Hyprland is beautiful, and Hyprland on NixOS is even more beautiful. This is probably the best way. No, not probably. It is the best way to run Hyprland is on NixOS. For real. No questions asked. Is it for people that are new to Linux? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. You will be so lost on this. Even I, who have, I'm not a coder. I've never pretended to be a coder. I've stated it many times in different videos. It's not my thing. But the reality of it is if you could understand how to read the code or get into groups like over in Zaneys Discord, you could hit me up in my Discord, and I'll help you out any way I can as well. But if you're into that and you're willing to learn and you're willing to go through the paces and you're willing to be pushed to your max, then you can give it a try. But understand that it's not easy. And it takes a different kind of mentality because it's completely different than what you would think as far as how it runs and works. Now, there's people out there that are going to be like, Alex, you're so silly. And I'm not. Or they're going to be like, yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, it's one of the things where the community is kind of a split opinion on it. But the point is it's a great distribution if you understand how to think out of the box and learn how to work it. Zaneys.files and his Flake setup and his Home Manager setup make that extremely possible. It's beautiful. He spends a lot of time reconfiguring it and setting it up. He's actually got commits and all kinds of stuff over in his Git, so you can see what he's doing. He's got an active community behind him helping him develop it. So if you feel that you want to take that plunge, go ahead. I strongly suggest you try. Is it going to be a constant daily driver? I don't know. Jury's still out. Key thing is that whole OBS web browser thing. If I could figure out how to make that work, then I'll probably stay on it for a while because I just use the same applications. I don't tinker anymore. I don't, do massive coding. I just show up, do my online work that I got to do for you guys to make your beautiful content, do my podcast, that kind of stuff. That's all I want, man, is my distribution to do. And what I like about it is because of the Flake, you're locked to those packages. Those same derivations. So large update will never happen because you're just staying on the same thing. You will never break. It is very stable in that aspect. And so I strongly suggest that if you're having the same issues I was and you want to make a jump, try something new and take the work to get it set up, and then just kind of ride that, this may be the one for you. Either way, y'all keep doing what you do. Y'all keep on Linux and y'all stay safe, stay blessed, and I will see you in the very next one. Also, don't forget, you can find me over on Discord. If you can, maybe consider joining the channel. Everything helps so much. Bye.